So welcome everybody to this equinox, and the energies are harmonious and simultaneously they are, all over the place. Because as I, maybe said to some of you, I mean, we are in this world, we are merging right now, we're collapsing our individual toroidal fields into the quantum field, or have already dumped off all of our individual toroidal fields into the quantum field, which means there is a great toroidal soup, so to speak, or there are things going through the field, and suddenly you're feeling this, you're feeling that, and of course we think like, oh, that's my own thought. Well, it may not actually be coming through you. Yes, I mean, you put it into your how can I say, into the information that you have in your brain, but the thought may be coming from, somebody from China, or from somebody from Australia, or who knows where. In other words, it's something that is just passing through, and sometimes, it can be up here and everything is wonderful and we can maintain our wonderful, high frequency. And at other times it's like, whoa, taking a little bit of a dive, even though the energies are somewhat harmonious, but harmonious in a sense that I think the world is really trying to in a behind the scenes level, trying to harmonize things out, so that it's I think we have to look at ourselves really more. I mean, so much we are so married to our material bodies and our world that we see, and this is how it is, and this is how life is, and this is how I think about it. But if we were taking it a little bit more out of this context, into the context of, what are we? We are also electricity and magnetism. And the earth has decided to upgrade herself. And with that, these bodies, these physical bodies that are part of the earth, because we are made of the same stuff as the earth. So as the electricity is raising these batteries that we are, maybe I don't know, maybe it's like the voltage is changing, and so the battery has to change to fit the new voltage, if you wish. So and in that sense, we also have to change our thinking. We have to change our how we look at things, not being stuck in one side of a dynamic or another side of a dynamic, but trying to look at everything in our world from as many perspectives as possible. Because when we're only locked into one dynamic or another, that means we're polarizing ourselves, and that means there's more imbalance in our own system going on. So trying to keep always an open mind and trying to look at everything from as many perspectives as possible, and keeping all of those perspectives at the same time, so that there is a more harmonious transition within our body and within our world. I think that is part of the dynamic that is going on right now. Yeah, so that I think is, what's happening behind the scenes. The world is making changes, and we are part of the world. We are part of her body, and so we go with it, like it or not. And I mean, right now in the world, it's still, relatively quiet, but I mean, we know the earth changes are going on. We know that there's, volcanoes erupting that haven't erupted in a long time. We know that there's a lot more earthquakes going on. We've seen the dams breaking, the different things that are happening, and this is not ending anytime soon. So there are more earth changes coming, and be prepared. But the most important thing is to stay in your center as much as you can. Try to navigate, the soul is always, it's so many times we think we have to figure everything out in our mind, because that's how, for most of us, that's how we're taught. Because our mind says this way, and I need to know, I need to know, well, I know that anyways from my mind. My mind can go like this, and I want to, and let me find out more information. Meanwhile, all this more information is really just dumping stuff into my head that is taking away from the soul's journey, because it is ultimately the soul's journey. Then the soul's journey sort of is working between the thoughts, in the space in between, not in, I'm not saying that all thoughts are bad or wrong. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I mean, it's trying to find a little bit more, that space in between, so that the new information, and I don't even want to call it the new information, but that the soul can actually do the things for us that it, has meant to do, because we're in a physical body. So the more we can get out of the way, the more we can, sort of let go of, I need to know, and how is it going to be, and and the mind chatter, the more we can sort of collapse that, the easier we will be able to navigate whatever is coming in our lives. And so it's the equinox. It's an important portal of the year, as always, but equinoxes are more about harmonization. So this is our opportunity to relax the mind, to help ourselves to stop the chatter within the mind, and allow ourselves to flow with the force from within. Sort of like in Star Wars, the force was always inside of you. and so many times we think we have to figure it out. I know, I think so many times I have to figure it out, and whatever thought I take, I can, because my mind tends to go into, well, I'm not good enough, and I'm not worthy enough, and this and that. And so then I sometimes just don't know anymore. And maybe that's a good thing when I don't know anymore, because then I finally stop all the chatter that is going on. So that is usually better, because then actually life can begin to flow again. Any comments, any questions at this moment?
I had a little comment about, I don't know if this is what you were saying or part of what you were saying, is we look outwardly for answers when the answers are within us. Anyway, that was my comment.
Yes, I agree. The answers are within us, and sometimes we're so much trying to find them out there.
Yeah, I always thought the definition of a teacher, I might have gotten it from the book, Siddhartha, was to lead you to the beginning of your own understanding. And But that's really not how education plays out in this country with all of the accountability, and you're going to lose your accreditation if you don't remember these historical dates, you know. So we're still, you know, it's been a while like this. I thought we were going to get better in the course of my lifetime, but I'm not sure. And a thought that I wondered about was sometimes, Bettina, I think, well, if this goes smoothly, then it's destined to be. It goes smoothly for a while, and then I hit some kind of roadblock, and I think, well, that doesn't mean it's not destined to be. It just means, you know, let's slow down, or let's take a look at the roadblock, because it's too, you know, I don't think you'd do anything if you didn't run into some kind of pothole along the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think these, you know, things that we sometimes have to look at is simply to look at, to become aware of them. Oh, okay, that's what is stopping me. Okay, I realized you. Now we can let you go.
Right, right. No, exactly. This the fear thing. I'll just elaborate one little bit more, and that is that I was thinking of moving into like a community, like a senior community. And that may sound awful, but it's like living at the Marriott. And I've thought everything's going so smoothly, and then I thought I'm not sure, and then it came to me after bothering myself for a while, maybe getting downloads from who knows where, that I could visit other facilities, and that would probably shore up my decision. I could make a comparison. And that's like, it's just kind of use your awareness to see where things are flowing. If you're not flowing your way, find it where it is flowing, something like that.
Right, right. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Elizabeth.
Just the chatter of the mind usually observes the, you know, like you were saying before, you pick up other things because you're empathic. And then your mind thinks that those thoughts are mine when there's someone down the street or 3 miles down the road. You know, you don't know where it's coming from. And it's because you have an open heart. And then the heart picks up things. And the mind interprets what the heart is feeling. And the heart is the strongest field. And it gets confusing figuring out what is causing what's going on up here at times, because you are empathic, because you care about people, because you have an open heart. If then you tune in, and you're used to tuning into people from a place that's not up here, but you interpret it all, and it's difficult to shield, because a lot of times you have connections, you don't know where these connections come from, whether you picked up you're wearing someone else's jacket. You know, all of a sudden you're thinking their thoughts, because all of a sudden you're walking around with their jacket on. You know, it's difficult, and I don't like walking in other people's shoes per se. That's about all I have to say for now.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that same topic of picking things up from the collective field, because I just had, you know, a real pretty, you know, whopping bout of stomach issues. Was in bed for 3 days and couldn't eat. And I'm wondering if what we're picking up can actually cause people to get sick.
Well,
But I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't anything, I was too busy and I was overdoing it. But you know, you can just sort of also just feel things in the ethers. You walk into town and you just feel feelings that aren't necessarily yours. Can you say more about that?
well, I mean, you're absolutely right. Of course, you go shopping, you are with other people, you know, you pick up on their energy fields. I mean, some people's energy fields are smaller, some people's energy fields are larger. But as I said, in the whole collective has, you know, merged now. So there's a lot more stuff going on. And you know, what is virus, for example, is also, you know, it's you can call it a thought, you can call it an energy, whatever, but you know, somebody somebody's body can deal with certain viruses because they have already individually made changes in their body, and somebody else's body is not there, and then when they are exposed to that virus, that energy, that thought, so to speak, that is in the field that you are around, then your body may be experiencing, is trying to do an immune reaction in order to change and upgrade your body so that you are not infected by this thought, or
Mhm.
not affected by that thought or that um,
Yeah, and
thought.
I think it's when you get off center, like you were saying, to stay in your center. I think because I was probably off center a little bit when I got sick. And so I think that, again, that's really wonderful advice, to stay in your center and not get too much into the head trying to figure things out.
Of course, also not getting too stressed out in general. I mean, if we're doing too many things because we think we have to, when we have too many things going on, then, we are definitely out of our center as well. That's absolutely the truth. I think we shall go to Susan, even though Susan has not been able to get her camera working, but she has a few poems of a mystic, and I will let her explain. She has been, occasionally here or there reading some of these short poems at other times. And they definitely have depth, but I will let her explain a little bit more about that. Susan, are you ready?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Even though you can't see me? Okay, how long would you like me to take?
Well, maybe between 5 and 8, 10 minutes, something like that.
Okay, I'll watch the clock. It's 1:20. I'm going to read a short bio of the poems of this really amazing yogini and prophetess and practitioner of yoga. And she's known by different names, Lala being one, Laleshwari another, Lal Ded is another. And this is a little bit about her background before I read a couple of her poems. She was born in Kashmir, probably in a village near Srinagar in 1320. And there are stories generally understood that she was mistreated as a young wife of, they were married at that time at 12 years old in Kashmir. And her in-laws, her mother-in-law was cruel to her and her husband. And the major reason they were cruel to her was because from an early age, she had spiritual aspirations and would meditate and go to shrines. So she left the marriage when she was 26, and let's see where. And at that time, she found a Hindu teacher, said Bayu, and she stayed with him and studied with him and was under his protection until she left his protection and started to wander. She was a wandering saint and came up with many poems called Vaks, V-A-K-S, and that really speak to what Bettina was speaking to. One little anecdotal story of her. One morning, as children were making fun of her nakedness, because she was an ecstatic saint and would wander around naked. All of the sages at that time were men primarily, and they were householders. But as a woman, she wasn't allowed to be a household saint, so that's why she wandered. And one morning, as children were making fun of her nakedness, a cloth merchant scolded their being disrespectful to her. Lala asked him for 2 strands of cloth equal in weight. That day, as she walked about, she wore a piece of cloth over each shoulder, and as she met with respect or scorn, either one, she tied knots in one or the other of the pieces of cloth. In the evening, she came back to the merchant and asked him to weigh the cloth again. The scales swung in balance, of course, no matter how the cloth was knotted. Praise and blame have no substance of their own. And many of her poems speak to that. She came from the Kashmir Shaivite tradition in Kashmir, a 5,000-year-old tradition. But at that time in Kashmir, Buddhism and the Muslims, especially the Sufis of that time, held her also as a saint. And so her poems draw from Kashmir Shaivism, but also other paths that existed in this crossroads, which was Kashmir at that time, a spiritual crossroads. Okay. So a couple of her poems. Let's see. Dying and giving birth go on inside the one consciousness, but most people misunderstand the pure play of creative energy, how inside that, those are one event. Birth and death and everything and all these circumstances that Bettina was talking about. As my love, here's another Bach. As my love and my faith and my interest in the inner grew, the darkness diminished within and without, and Lala lost herself in that light. Another short one. Lord, I've never known who I really am, or you. I threw my love away on this lousy carcass and never figured it out. You're me, and I'm you. All I ever did was doubt, who am I, who are you? Okay. Another beautiful one. Those who glow with the light of the self are freed from life even while they live. But fools add knots by the hundred to the tangled net of the world. So let's not be those fools that add knots by the hundreds to the tangled net of this world. Okay. Do not sit at home. Do not go to the forest, but recognize mind, meaning God, God consciousness, wherever you are. When one abides in complete and perfect enlightenment, where is samsara? And where is nirvana? Oh, know this truth, that neither at home nor in the forest does enlightenment dwell. Be free from prevarication, in the self-nature of immaculate thought.
I'm sorry, so what is it? Be free from what?
Oh, I just changed my spot.
Sorry.
I think she said prevarication.
And what prevarication?
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean?
Just
Dissembling.
just don't worry about the places where you go, such as a shrine, or where you're going to meditate, or where to find your workshop, for your spiritual good. I guess that would be prevaricating, getting off course, the way I see it.
I'm not.
Be free from prevarication in the self-nature of immaculate thought. So, and basically that God consciousness is our nature. And in Kashmir Shaivism and Talala in many of her poems, it's about this way that we find that inner nature and the importance of finding it rather than stressing our life on this carcass that we carry around, but to find that self-nature of immaculate thought, as this poem speaks to. And the last one, that I'll read of hers. She has many, many, many of these Vox. You rule the earth, breathe life into the 5 elements. All creation throbs with the unstruck sound, immeasurable. Who can take your measure? So many, many beautiful poems that speak to everything that we study in macrobiotics in One Peaceful World. It's why prevaricate to all these different things when that one peaceful world has to be found right here. So,
Thank you, Susan, that was beautiful, beautiful short poems, very meaningful. I think, I mean, for many people also, like it said in one of the poems about doubt, doubting who I am, doubting you, God, you know, doubting what is my purpose, what am I doing here? And it's, yeah, that's all doubt. And it's, maybe it's a useless thought.
why am I in this mess? Why is the world in this mess?
Right.
You know, prevaricating, you know, constantly about, you know, what's happening with the planet and the politics. God knows we can go a lot of places with that, you know.
We certainly can, but
it's all kind of like those knots on her on the cloth on her shoulder, that it's respect or scorn. It really weighs the same, and that's the essence of yoga, right? The equilibrium or equanimity or whatever, all things, you know, all experiences.
I think that is also really beautiful because it's, you know, no matter how much somebody will, you know, praise you or somebody like scorn you exactly. I mean, it shouldn't, I mean, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, but we take it, you know, from the way we are polarized, so to speak. We, of course, what do we want? We want praise. I mean, I just experienced that the other day when, you know, somebody gave me a test, you know, I don't want to go into the test, but it was sort of like, well, if you do this, then you're a good person. If you do that, then you're a spy. Well, you know, I failed, or what means I failed, but you know, my test would have come out that I'm a spy, and of course, then I was like judging myself. Well, you know, I must be a bad person or so if that test has come out like that. And after that, I thought, what a hilarious, wonderful opportunity for me to see myself where I get sucked into something like this and even consider the validity of some kind of a test like this to make any difference of who I am. I mean, you know, what does it matter? I mean, for me, it's the most important thing is to be honest and, you know, truthful to the best of my ability. And no test can tell me I'm a spy or something else, you know, can label me as something, as long as I don't label myself that. But in that moment, for that one moment, I was labeling myself as, well, you have totally failed the test, you know. But it was just interesting to watch. It was a great opportunity in that. It is, time is going by. I don't wish to keep you here too long, but I did promise a meditation, and so I will do a meditation with you. This meditation is exactly geared to let go of the thoughts that are in our mind, to clear the thoughts so that we can get down to our heart a little bit more. So that is the purpose of this meditation today. And because I will put some background music on, but the background music is it's harpistry that is that if I can't have it on the recording, in other words. That's why I need to stop the recording, because if the music is found in YouTube in this recording, then they will close my account, or at least close it down
They'll
for a
probably
while.
just block the video.
So, yeah, exactly. I mean, so anyway, I will stop or pause the recording for the time being. So let's have a
I have
little.
I have two which take about 4 or 5 minutes together, but if you want, I can cut it to one.
No, 2 is perfectly fine. So,
Okay.
because of course, music, what is music? Music is the flow of life. So, and really singing. I mean, ideally, if we were all together, let's sing a song together. But I don't know how many of you have tried singing a song on Zoom. It's awful because there's so much, it just doesn't work really well unless everybody mutes themselves. So, but in person, of course, singing together, dancing together, that would be really wonderful to bring the energy up, to also bring us a little bit more in our hearts and out of our heads. But let's hear from Elaine. Elaine is, what you sing, what, opera normally?
I sing opera. I sing different styles of music. Today I'm going to present an opera piece, and I'm going to present a piece that was originally, I think, from a TV production of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
Okay.
So
Well,
it's sort of a Broadway style tune. Let me get the share screen thing going on. And this is the Stepsisters' Lament from Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. How do I press go? Why would a fellow want a girl like her, a frail and fluffy beauty? Why can't a fellow ever once prefer a solid girl like me? She's a frothy little bubble with a flimsy kind of charm, and with very little trouble I can break a little arm. Oh, why would a fellow want a girl like her, so obviously unusual? Why can't a fellow ever once prefer a usual girl like me? Her cheeks are a pretty shade of pink, but not any pinker than a rose's. Her skin may be delicate and soft, but not any softer than a dose's. Her neck is no whiter than a swan's. She's only as dainty as a daisy. She's woolly as graceful as a bird. So why is the fellow going crazy? Oh, why would a fellow want a girl like her? A girl who's merely lovely. Why can't a fellow ever once prefer a girl who's merely me? What's the matter with a man? What's the matter with a man? What's the matter with a man? Okay, so the second piece I've got, if I can figure out how to get to it. This is weird. Okay. I think I'm going to stop my screen share and go back in because I'm not sure how to find it otherwise.
that's no problem. I understand that. That has happened to me too.
I mean, I was like, I can't get to the other YouTube screen is the problem. This second one is from an opera called The Barber of Seville by Gioacchino Rossini. And I play the character of the maid, Berta, whose master annoys her very much. I'm not sure if she sort of likes him, but he likes this young woman that's his ward, who is also, the young woman is also being courted by a count. And so
Bertha, this old maid, feels very left out of all this love stuff. And let me turn the screen share back on. Blah, blah. Where are we? Screen share. Share. And go.
Men wish to be married.
Wait.
When old men wish to be married, and young women long for husbands, both are frenzied, both are harried, they completely lose their mind. Yes, yes, they completely lose their mind. Yes, yes, they completely lose their mind. They're confused and they are blind. They're confused and they are blind. They completely lose their mind. They completely lose their mind. What has made them both so frantic? This disease they're speaking of. What makes old and young romantic? What's this illness they call love? It's a dreadful epidemic. It's a universal mania. It's a stinging wild desire. It's an all-consuming fire. I myself can feel it burning. My poor heart is sick with yearning. My poor heart is sick with yearning, and it makes me want to cry, and it makes me want to cry, and it makes me want to cry. I'm a spinster and I'm aging. How could I attract a lover? Not engaged and not engaging. I'm so lonely I could die. Yes, I'd be better off to die. Yes, yes, I'd be better off to die. I'm so lonely I could die. I'm so lonely I could die. I am neither young nor pretty. No one wants me for a wife. No one wants me for a wife. What a shame and what a pity. No one wants me for a wife. What a rotten, rotten life. Oh, what a rotten, rotten life. There's no joy for me in life.
Fun, thank you.
All right, thank you. That was wonderful. What a, what a wonderful performance. I mean, our voice is just something so fabulous. And this piece to me, it really represented exactly, the part of our mind that tells us something. Oh, we are this, and so there is no purpose for us, or we are that, and this is how it is. And how ridiculous that is, really. How what we think, when so many times what we consider love, the romantic love, is that really love? I mean, is that really what life is about? Or is there much more that we are simply missing because we have these specific programs that then say, if we're not fitting into that, if we're not fitting into that box of these thought patterns that we have learned, then there is nothing for me in life. I'm better off to die. What a ridiculous thing. But how wonderful you have, put that out there, and what force of sound that is. It was wonderful, Elaine. Thank you.
In harmony with that, Bettina, I was watching some daytime TV the other day and saw all the children's programs and they're very interesting, Dora the Explorer, and our motto is, if we don't understand it, we'll go out and figure it out. And I was thinking, isn't that great for children today? Because when I was a kid, we used to come home from school and watch the $1,000,000 Movie, which, invariably had some romantic thing with Cary Grant and his secretary. And, the answer was they fell in love, and that was like it. But they didn't have Dora the Explorer. So I'm playing catch up now,
I don't know. We didn't have those in Germany, but
Oh.
We had other things. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else wishes to say any?
Thank you, Bettina. Thank you so much. I have a ride coming pretty soon. I'm at a library and we have Hurricane Ophelia. Speaking of water washing, brainwashing is always good, and having a clean heart is everything.
Where
Thank
are
you
you?
so much. It's good seeing you. Thank you. Nice meeting you. I have to leave.
Anybody else wishes to say anything? Or, as a sort of parting gift to everybody for this equinox?
Well, I just want to say goodbye to everyone, and thanks, Bettina, for putting this together. And as a little entertainment in early afternoon in my part of the world.
Yes. He's on the West Coast, so it's much earlier than it is here on the East Coast. Anybody else? And of course, for Mike and Maria, who are under Mike here, they are for what? It's middle of the night?
Oh, approaching
Yeah.
approaching the middle of the night, but that was a rousing performance
Oh, Elaine.
by Elaine.
Oh, thank you so much.
That was really.
Yes.
Cool, Michael.
I always know you are special, but this special? Oh,
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
I can't play a comb with parchment paper like you, but thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, next time
Okay.
we'll have a piece of parchment
Yeah.
paper.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Wonderful to see your talent, Elaine. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wendy,
Thank
if you're talking, I mean, we can't hear you. You're muted.
No, try again.
Again.
Who's muted?
Wendy, I think Wendy tried
Oh,
to
not
say,
me.
but
Now we can hear you, Susan.
no. Where are you, Wendy? Let's see. Well, I think she enjoyed the performance as well. It was wonderful. Thank you, everybody. As I said, I don't wish to keep you so long. I said it would be about an hour, and I don't wish to keep you all afternoon or all night. And I do wish you a very harmonious time, ride the crest of the wave, or, feel the integrating. Don't let yourself be frazzled by this or that, but allow yourself to fall into your center, knowing that we are held by our souls no matter what, that, soul, divine spirit, divine goddess, whatever is with us, to navigate easily, elegantly through any difficult things that may be coming up, or simply enjoying and having a wonderful time. Thank you, everybody.